What do you get when you mix cheesy CGI and practical effects, generic zombie tropes, random words thrown together, Randy from My Name is Earl, a pregnant woman, Danny Trejo, a waterborne zombie virus spread out through San Francisco, and the shovelware in movie form production company only known as the Asylum? Whatever this is.
Furry little dolly llama.
Released in 2012 directly to the Sci-Fi Channel, 1 year after director Nick Lyons' also creatively titled movie, Zombie Apocalypse. Really thinking out of the bag with that one. We've experienced their peak cinematography with such classics as Zoombies 1 and 2, Sharknado 1 through 8, and Aquarium of the Dead. But how would things fare with the same production budget with a more solid story setup, a more built-up cast of characters, and for once, a not-so-stupid zombie scenario in a setting straight out of Call of Duty Zombies' Mob of the Dead? Today, we are discussing Rise of the Zombies. The movie starts off guns blazing, or I guess you could say rotting flesh blazing. Zombies in the midst of attacking the greater San Francisco area, showcasing just what we are in for in terms of effects, characters, and overall tone. We got decent practical gore mixed with cheesy CGI, blatantly obvious zombie dummies getting thrown around, primo CGI zombie splatter, and a group of people driving hastily through what looks like a pretty normal and sunny looking San Francisco. Doesn't really look like a zombie apocalypse is happening. There's none of that fake smoke, random zombies everywhere, or fires or anything, while they're intentionally driving into singular zombies on the street. You're looking to get your car wrecked doing that. Their goal? To get to the world-famous decommissioned prison island, Alcatraz. How do they plan on getting there with no boats? Maybe they'll use the mandatory in a zombie apocalypse pregnant woman as a flotation device. They act like this is all wide-scale chaos as they scream and holler as they're driving around. Literally, it's clearer than a normal day in the California tourist destination, but whatever. With no imminent threat in view, the driver decides he needs to go full speed down the famous winding road of Lombard Street like he was trying to make a mayonnaise-flavored Tokyo Drift. All so they can get in a wreck as soon as possible to, I guess, mirror Dawn of the Dead 2004's intro in the dumbest way possible. Remember how the blonde chick in the 2004 movie panicked and drove down a hill because of panicking people and undead everywhere? It made sense there. But in this, let's just have a dude happily drive down the sharpest turns in the United States. Yeah, nothing could go wrong. But the way the car whips down the hill, like that green screen car crash that people use for lol random is this real memes? You know what I'm talking about, this one. The driver insta-kills himself while everyone else just sits there coughing and looking at their injuries going, oh, I thought you guys knew it was a zombie apocalypse. But man, this bone sticking out of the arm cost the effects department like 25% of the practical effects funding. We gotta show that off. I mean, check out this post-production smoke coming from the car. How else can the viewer know that the car is totaled? The only one that even thinks to get up and get out of the wrecked car in the middle of a zombie apocalypse is the pregnant woman, while the one dude just sits back and lets himself get ate out by these slow-moving, flesh-craving, rotting people. You know it's gonna be a cornball fest when you can even hear one of the zombies saying the word under their breath. The pregnant woman runs downhill alone, completely unharmed from the wreck or being chased by the undead. Good thing she gets the plot armor perk for being preggo in a zombie apocalypse. Hopefully, she doesn't trip and fall and roll down the hill like an Indiana Jones boulder. That would kill off a decent portion of zombies that would just randomly sit in the street. Honestly, I would have preferred that being in the movie. Then we get a transition to Alcatraz, where we could see two women watching some kind of video on a laptop from a virologist completely fully explaining every single detail of this particular zombie virus. Now, the zombie virus being a waterborne pathogen introduced to the nearby population through the Berkeley Water Treatment Facility, but because of budget cuts, anything that could have prevented it was ignored. So, Inspector Gadget here says he is working on TSL-12, a proteins inhibitor infector suppressant composed as a cocktail of HIV and cancer suppression medications. I tried to say that all in one breath. Sorry if I sound out of it, I'm a little sick right now. But this medical concoction has shown some results in one of his lab monkeys, kind of reverse hybridizing the origin of the cancer drug that broke out in I Am Legend and how the rage virus started in 28 Days Later. Not gonna lie, that felt like a huge word salad that he was saying of giving the virus some realism. It sounds like he just googled a bunch of scientific terms and just threw it all together and saved you more at the room store. The monkey is there for you to stare at mindlessly while he explains all this medical jargon because we probably won't understand, and because we need something there like how a kid needs to watch a clip of Subway Surfers attached to whatever you're watching. It's basically that. But what is important to note from all of this is that the full infection rate is a maximum of 30 seconds. If you get bit, you have up to 30 seconds before you completely turn. While I'm all for learning and knowing what the disease is from the start and what it does, it's weird for it to already supposedly have a cure that's being easily watched online. I can't look into it too deeply. This is supposed to be just dumb, mindless fun that has Danny Trejo's face on the cover. Side note, I do love the fact that the font they use is the exact same one I use for my videos sometimes, the 28 Days Later font. It's simple, easy, looks good for zombie-related material, and most importantly, it's free. Then it suddenly becomes season 3 of The Walking Dead up in here. People holed up in the island prison. It looks like the prison from Walking Dead. I mean, just even the lighting. In case you missed the explanation from the doctor just a minute ago, Mariel Hemingway tosses yet another word salad in her own special way.
Arnold mentioned a protease inhibitor, which means we should be seeing an endoplasmic reticulum with a lipid bilayer.
Aren't these just buzzwords that dumb people use to sound important?
This girl got a career in mumble rap coming. I just know it. The doctor here goes on to describe how a black matter, a colonial microorganism, is seizing control of cells and the nervous system. But in order to understand it fully, he needs a fresh, live sample of a zombie's flesh. Not like they aren't dead already, but they need it living, technically. They were testing on a group of zombies that they had contained in a room in the prison when someone in the middle of the night snuck in and burned all the zombies to a crisp. That someone being the Brujo himself, Danny Trejo, sitting outside with the meth dealer from Sons of Anarchy.
Jess! What were you thinking?
And Randy Hickey.
It puts the lotion on its skin, it does as it's told.
Put the lotion in the basket!
Which, have you seen Ethan Suplee recently? Dude looks nothing like he did back then.
Damn it! Why are you making me relive this again?
Look at him now. Truly a Giga Chad. I know he probably doesn't like being remembered as Randy.
Yeah, he would be funny on fire.
But his acting in this movie is literally just Randy. Danny admits to killing all the zombies that were quarantined as they posed a threat to everyone there. If they broke out, everyone was dead. Especially with how stupid the people act when zombies are around. You're going to see that throughout the movie. Dr. Hemingway says their samples could have helped find a cure. It's his fault that they can't find a cure now. There is some back and forth on whether the doctor should use the only raft on the island to go inland to look for the vaccine research said by the doctor, or for the 3 guys to call for the Coast Guard to get reinforcements. They just need to get their communication things working. You already have this woman on a computer. You can't send out a signal through that. If they are all walled up on Alcatraz and all of San Francisco is zombified, I'm pretty sure any kind of armed forces would have already swooped in and taken out all the zombies. But nah, we gotta wait on Randy to phone it in, both in emergency services and line delivery.
We had to put those bodies to rest. Those used to be people.
2 random people are walking on the beach, I guess checking the perimeter of the island, when a horde of zombies just randomly washes up on shore. It doesn't seem like they floated. Did they just walk across the ocean floor like those of Land of the Dead when they jumped in the river and walked along the bottom? Apparently, this is such an ambush of the undead dead that the people get bit despite tons of warning and plenty of time to run. They just sit there and let themselves get bit. The 4 main survivors atop the island all start pulling stormtrooper aim levels of shooting at the zombies. The people down below have no survival instinct whatsoever or a basic fight or flight response in this movie. I can already tell. It's going to be happening a lot just so we can get gore. I mean, that's fine, but I do like my people to have some kind of brains, and I think the zombies would too. One of the people does get bitten, and suddenly the group was able to one-shot him from so far away in the head. It does suck that all the zombies that were on the beach just get off-screen killed, but whatever. The whole prison goes into lockdown. You know what that means? We have to have the main characters and then a half a dozen extras just randomly running around in the background of the prison for half a minute. We don't have to have a destination, just running over there, then run over there, then run over there. That will make it look like it's chaotic enough. But somehow, a horde of zombies just busted their way into this former maximum security prison. You guys didn't fortify this place, you just crumbled the second these slow-moving brainlets washed up at the front door. Scott Pressler haphazardly shuts a jail door and just gawks at the bars while they slowly open it in front of him. He gets stuck on if he should stay grifting in his spot and then does the weakest run I've ever seen in my life. Also, he can die to the flesh-eating hordes. It's not like long hair on a dude slows you down. I have long hair and I could run twice as fast.
Man, falling Lego City.
I got long hair.
Lego City.
You ain't fast. Long hair make you faster.
Lego City.
While Scott Pressler gets his back blown out by a horde of dudes, T-Bone Dog rolls up to just watch. It's this back and forth of him just staring at all of this in disgust until the zombies finally notice him and say, "Hey, the darker the booty, the sweeter the juice." The big black dude waits until they give chase. It didn't work out for the skinny white dude. Why would it work for yo fat ass? Never mind, he outran them. This dude must be built like Coach. The group fires a few rounds at the zombies to whittle their numbers down. They had firearms this entire time, but just don't use them when someone's about to get smorgasborded. This woman gets pinned by a zombie and they just have a one-on-one tickle fight. Stop, babe, stop. The men have the action scene of all time. Danny Trejo goes into Fallout 4 VATS mode and pops one zombie in slow-mo. Although the angle of the hand and gun is funny to see as you transition in the shot to show how he positions a zombie perfectly under his gun to pop him. Doesn't make sense, but whatever. Danny then targets another zombie's chest and miraculously gets a headshot instead. Another zombie gets shot in the face by a rifle with the gray hole in his forehead to prove it. One of the zombies doesn't even try to bite one of the survivors. No teeth, all hands on this sumbitch. Dude misses a swing and gets bumped in the face to get co-op headshotted. Apparently all it takes is beating them in the head once or twice with just a little force to kill these zombie types. That or slitting the throat. If we are leaning this hard into zombies, you could have at least stuck to the golden rule of
Removing the head or destroying the brain.
But in this case, if you slightly damage any part of their head, the dead fold quicker than Chibi reviews' fiance. This action scene gets a bit nauseating with how it's shot while faking out them getting bitten. The horde approaches the cell door as it closes. Instead of it slamming shut, one zombie eases himself to the ground and just wedges himself in the doorway. Obviously, the thing's gonna get ripped in half, that's what it's gonna be going for, and I'm all for the guts and gore that's gonna be preceding it, but this was just awkward. Like they couldn't commit to the bit of him getting bisected or risking the actor hurting himself falling to the ground. So he just gently goes to the floor, even though the door doesn't even close. It just stays slightly ajar and pretends to squeeze him and rip him in half. While the effects are neat, I need some girthy weight to the metal pincering him in two. It just feels lazy, especially since the door is not actually shut. So it's just weird, man. This scene also kind of shows how the direction for the zombies is all over the place. On one side of the skirmish, you have the women coming in with dead running at full speed going blah, 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 after them. And then on the other side, where the door was not closing, you have the undead just waiting outside like they're waiting for their number to be called at the ZMV. Like literally, Trejo runs over there and they all just look at him like they're gonna bite their tongue at saying some kind of racial slur at him instead of attacking. On the topic of inconsistencies though, the zombies range from decently good looking rotters with foggy eyes to generic Spirit Halloween makeup effects. It's jarring at times and pretty funny to see the differences in how good the zombies can look and how bad they can. Thankfully for the survivors, the zombies always position themselves to be easily headshot. With edits that are like half a second, that's just a flash, it's really jarring. The zombies corner T-Bone Dog, and just like T-Dog in The Walking Dead, he gets buffeted by the dead trying to save everyone else in the middle of a prison. Just more calories for the zombies to dine on in his death. The doctor dude leaves his cell to go grab a weapon and one-shots a zombie with some kind of bladed weapon in the head without even trying. If only everyone else did the exact same thing. The one guy that is in a cell has his roommate turn into a zombie right behind him, and it is so quick to bite his shoulder. We then get him beating his zombified friend's head against the wall 6 times before just throwing him out. So which is it when it comes to these zombies' heads? Are they durable as hell or super easy to squish? Make up your mind, Asylum. He starts convulsing and then his veins darken in seconds. I do like seeing turning effects like this, even if they are dorky as hell. The rest of the zombies are going nuts, but are largely subdued, as T-Bone Dog asks to be shot before he turns. Rip in peace, homie. When everything calms down, the doctor's wife zombifies in the cell as the gang cleans up the prison. Genuinely, this feels like we got thrust into the zombie attack at the prison part of The Walking Dead, and is acting like we are invested in these characters like we've known them for 3 seasons. Meanwhile, the woman holding a beach ball in her dress scavenges for food in the middle of San Fran, while just 2 zombies are barely walking at her. You're telling me a horde of zombies went out into the ocean searching for people, but they're not roaming one of the biggest cities in America? Okay, sure. The girl is playing single player, well, technically co-op, while the prison argues with each other in multiplayer. Some survivors of the attack contest that they have to leave via the only raft. Others like Trejo state that they should stay put and wait for the National Guard to come in. The youth elect to leave the old people behind. The doctor says he will stay behind to continue his research and gets handed a pistol and grenade. I hope he doesn't pull a World War Z with that. They say the zombies just kind of float on the currents of the ocean to wash up on the island. Like they are coordinating all of this to literally go with the flow. Why would they go into the ocean anyways? Wouldn't they be searching for people to infect and eat? What would be in the ocean? But hey, whatever gets the ball rolling. They head out to the beach at dusk, and another horde miraculously starts attacking from the ocean yet again. Their grand master getaway vehicle is that rinky-dink life raft for what? 1, 2, carry the left for dead, 8 people, maybe even more to get on this little thing? That shit would not work. Did they just not have a boat within their means of budget for this film? You think there would at least be one boat left behind by the Alcatraz Preservation Museum or whatever. What if those drifting zombies out in the ocean have a bone exposed and prick this thing? Are you just boned? Regardless, they drag it to the water and kill the mini-horde that the AI director spawned, with no casualties in the group. While they green screen on the boat with a dark, foggy background, one of the women says she felt something bump her ass from the bottom of the raft, causing everyone to stare at the separately filmed water. Their first thoughts were to ask if that was a dolphin or shark. Sorry, wrong movie. Aquarium of the Dead's over there. But you know, these zombies are apparently Dead Island Riptides floaters. But why do the aquatic creatures become the first thing that comes to your mind? Suddenly, a group of 4 zombies just pop goes the weasel out of the water like they are standing in shallow water. How did they manage to do this? Grabbing the young girl and dragging her in to eat her, getting a buffet under the sea. How do they have this kind of leverage in the ocean's depth and current? They are floaters, not mermaids. How did no one save her, and how was it this easy to yoink one of them? Whatever. It's scary, and we needed someone to die out in the water because it's unique. That moment gone, they tell her brother to get over it, and Randy yells, "Come on, let's get out of here! You're on an inflatable raft. You can't run away. What else are you gonna do? Splash some more?" The rest of the night apparently went fine with no floaters as they get to the shore near the Golden Gate Bridge. They are disappointed the food they brought in Ziploc bags is soaked and mossy. How did it get this mossy in that short amount of time? I mean, you could have double bagged it, bros, but whatever. At least this father's journal is intact to show this old woman. Wait, hold on. Wait, there is an old couple, there's an old dude and an old woman. Where the fuck did they come from? Okay, there's more characters I didn't even know existed. They move on to look for supplies. The doctor, back at the prison, goes up to his dead wife that's in a jail cell to show her pictures of their son. He tries to communicate with her and even to feed her. She looks at this puree Serena wet cat food and literally waves him off. If you're gonna try to sway her back to the living side, you're gonna have to offer her something better than what the cat barfs up. The dude stayed behind on this prison island to research live samples of flesh, but is now suddenly becoming Day of the Dead's Dr. Logan, trying to find the humanity within the minds of the dead. Apparently, there is a cure just inches away that a doctor is doing with monkeys. You're just gonna sideline that to feed your dead wife this slop? We cut back to the Golden Gate Bridge, and I love the fact that they did not even bother to film a low traffic part of the day on the bridge or bother editing out all the cars on the bridge itself. It reminds me of that shitty zombie movie trilogy I directed and filmed in college, where in my third film, I was so tight for time, I had like 12 hours to shoot everything, that I had buses going by right after my friends that were playing the characters said there was nothing but death out there.
Worth a shot, you never know who might be out there.
You wanna know who's out there? Nobody. Death.
Except, I didn't have money nor resources. You have Asylum money, which, you spend a decent portion, but you get a return on investment just throwing out slop movies. But at least they can use a backdrop that looks like the skybox from Wet Dry World in Super Mario 64. Almost the same quality, too. The doctor gets his act together and does more research noting black masses all over the internal organs of the zombies that he has procured, stating that it's either the organism itself or the blackness is a byproduct of its inclusion within a human body, nullifying the brain but seizing control of the nervous system to puppet the body mindlessly. The city group finds an inoperable car and a rift happens. Danny Trejo attempts to take the group to Petaluma via foot. Dr. Hemingway says she has to go to downtown San Francisco to find the vaccine. Trejo just wants to survive, but apparently now she believes this vaccine that was barely mentioned is fully made after viewing one video of it working on that chimp. At first, most hesitate at the idea, but then Randy Unga Bunga stares at the ground, then looks up and says, "We gonna get that vaccine and save the world." And everybody but Trejo gets behind him except the meth dealer, the old woman, and the dad. The meth dealer has a heart-to-heart with this young woman. She says she should have died 2 months ago when this all started. Wait, 2 months? How has it been 2 months since this zombie apocalypse started? Y'all didn't barricade the waterfront, nor did the zombies display any kind of floating behaviors at all. You guys were not prepared for this, and the Prego lady that is still out there holding her baby turd in like she is Portgas de Rouge. No wonder she looks like she's got a beach ball up there. That baby is gonna pop out like a damn human cannonball. I digress. The meth dealer hands her a gun. Apparently, it's customary in this universe to hand a magically spawned pistol to a person that you are separating from. She gives him a 4-leaf charm necklace in return to remember her. Wonder if these traded items will come into play at all later on. Trejo stoutly says that these people that are going to San Francisco are messing up going there and probably will never see them again. Bro, they better not try to kill Trejo off. The movie poster has his face all over it. The dude's a badass, not a dumbass. He has his moments, but I would be with him too. I'm not heading to downtown San Francisco on this hero mission on a vaccine of a kooky guy talking with the chimp. We go back to the prison. The doctor takes note of the guy that turned earlier. He has an electric prosthetic hand and notes its sporadic movement due to the guy's dead anatomy, and then the mutilated hand underneath exposed to the device was not rotted or deteriorated in any way. Now, this is a really interesting development, that this hand that was exposed to this technology, it did not rot. Really interesting to have this new element not seen in dead movies before. He then rips a piece of the zombie's cheek off for a sample, and it pisses the dude off, making him a little cheeky. The group makes it to the Golden Gate Bridge, and we get this One Piece level pacing of them staring at the foggy monument back and forth for 40 whole seconds. I'm not kidding. It's just, it goes Randy, bridge. Girl, bridge. We know there's a bridge there, but they gotta pad the time out to reach that 9-minute mark. Trejo's trio of him, the father, the meth dealer, and the grandma, that is a quattro, not a trio, find a rich person's abandoned house, perfectly untouched. 2 months in, and a place like this would have been ransacked by looters, undead, and scavengers already. But let's ignore that. That's pretty common with these post-apocalyptic zombie movies. The meth dealer guy calls out to them ahead of time, and Danny Trejo and the dad freak freak out and almost shoot him. They can react to a familiar voice saying, "Hey, I'm here," with this kind of precision and readiness. But when zombies come around, that reaction time is going to be that of an IGN game reviewer. The doctor takes the sample and notes the same black masses over the blood cells, but gets interrupted by the sound of his zombified wife calling out to him. Oh, wait a minute, that's his daughter. Okay, unless that's what she calls him. I'm not going to get into their love life, especially now. That's just necrophilia, man. She acts like she knows him, doing this little, "Oh, we're gonna touch hands," and then lunges at him. Who could have saw that coming? Listen, Doc, you should probably continue your research with the limited food and resources you have instead of wasting time and almost getting bit. We get back to the Trejo group. They are searching for food when we get this cut to a contorted zombie, and that's it. It just jumps to Randy's group. What the fuck is this editing for this movie? It can't stick to one setting for too long, and then it just jumps around. I mean, literally, look how this is done before we shoot back to Randy's group. Randy's candies get atop the Golden Gate Bridge. You would think it would look more like the Left 4 Dead 2 finale, but it's just some random scattered cars with not a single zombie anywhere to be found. In fact, all the vehicles look completely clean and untouched. To make sure we know it has been 2 months since the apocalypse started, the young guy pulls out a half-eaten sandwich with painted on mold and a singular non-moving maggot. Yeah, that's what we needed to make sure we know society has crumbled and humanity was turned into cannibals. That's the only thing. Yeah, on that note, we cut back again to Trejo's group, where the contorted zombie girl wakes up. Her arm stays behind her head this entire time like it's some disgusting display of the human body, but I've been able to do that my whole life. I mean, look at that. Just kind of flopping there. With that, should I get a casting call to be a zombie in one of their movies then? Danny finds a bottle of some kind of nondescript alcohol of some sort and gets ready to slam it down when the zombie girl sneaks up on him. Man, I double called it. He has horrible reaction time, and Danny Trejo is getting zombified and not even halfway into the film by this zombie with one less arm in a situation he could have prevented by just checking the whole damn house and just keeping it ear open. That thing was loud as hell. You seriously cast Danny Trejo and use him like this? Really? Couldn't even have him go out like a badass in a horde or nothing, like the security guard in Dawn of the Dead 2004. Nope, he just panics and lets Chiquita bite him. Not only that, but it overpowers him with one arm literally tied behind its back. It's Danny fucking Trejo. A woman earlier held off a zombie for minutes. And he just fell to one-armed zombie? Danny Trejo literally was boxing in prison in the 60s and was a mean sumbitch before finding God and acting. Why kill him off like such a bitch? What a waste of his talents. Meth Time Mike is seen panicking while all this is going on, but he's not hearing Trejo or trying to find him. He is literally just frantically trying to find the keys to the car in the garage. That's it. There's just this intense music going, and that's what he is freaking out about. Maybe it's the music that's stressing him out, and that's it. The other two people are just being chilling in the living room. Luckily, Meth Mike finds the keys and turns on the car. The arm flop zombie is able to ambush yet another fully grown man with her ass out and kills him too. How, why, when, where, what? Okay, a one-armed zombie got y'all acting up this bad that you're all swapping teams? Armed with a pistol, and he still gets killed like that. Granny is screaming and Zombie Trejo is groaning. He chases her down to the stairs and she holds him off longer than he did the woman. Are you kidding me? She had a perfect shot on him, would have been able to headshot him multiple times, but just leaves him be. And she lets him get a bite out of her as she pops herself in the head while Danny has a piece of granny neck in his grill. When Meth Mike walks in to see the bloodbath, I guess, they kind of off-screen a lot of this. Meth Mike runs away in some long-ass stretched out scenes, one of which is in slow motion for some odd reason as Trejo corners him in the garage. Meth Mike pulls out a chainsaw and cuts him, I guess, When this weapon got whipped out, I expected some Evil Dead levels of gore and violence. I mean, that's just mandatory for a chainsaw, but it barely cuts into the diamond-like frame of zombie Danny Trejo with barely any guts poking out. Really? If you're gonna have Danny Trejo zombified, at least give him a cool and bloody as hell death. But nah, he gets an axe to the head and then stumbles around like he got hit with a mallet in a cartoon until he lamely keels over. That's it. He's the face of the movie, and that is how he goes out. He literally fought a few zombies, argues over going to safety, and then gets bitten by a slot machine zombie woman to die lazily. I don't care how cheesy or intentionally stupid these movies are supposed to be. That's flagrant false advertising when you have Danny Trejo all over it, and a waste of a good Trejo. Meth Mike takes the car and plows through the garage to go, I don't know, somewhere. Back at Dead Island's final level, the doctor comes to his final hypothesis on the virus, that it's a cluster of microorganisms that acts independently within a host and uses electronic impulses with its black mass to control the body, blackness, and electricity. I'm gonna call this the static shock virus. He notes that the prosthesis makes the organisms afraid of his artificial limb or that stub that he has, like an electrical current disables or deters them. He derails the conversation that he's having with himself by asking if his daughter is still in her own body. Dude, just do your job. Nobody cares. You are making headway in some way. He introduces an electric shock to the black masses on the cells, and they instantly start dissipating. Literally only takes electrical currents, so basically Return of the Living Dead 2's answer to killing zombies. I'm guessing they are taking Pokemon types into consideration. Since the virus is waterborne, then it's only natural that electric types would be super effective against them. It's that easy. Randy is questioned at the bridge on why he chose to follow Dr. Hemingway. He says, "'Cause God's plan." They have a back and forth on religion and science and how this zombie-filled world is God's will and blah, blah, blah. Tired trope, religion versus science. But weird hearing from Randy's actor of all people who does not sell this whole talking point. But during this, we have this shot of the zombies are climbing up the goddamn Golden Gate Bridge. They can climb like that. So we got Left 4 Dead level infected that can climb anything? Seriously? Do you know how tall the Golden Gate Bridge is? That's like over 700 feet and they're able to climb that? But the survivors are making no noise and gaining no attention. But the zombie horde of San Francisco decides to all climb the bridge all at the same time to ambush them. And now suddenly a swarm has also spawned on top of the bridge. This is just Left 4 Dead levels of common infected attacking out of thin air. They just popped in. They pop a few, one of which looks entirely CGI in the worst way despite okay effects before. Young guy kills a zombie that surprise attacks him with an easy blow to the head. You can have him able to kill zombies but not Trejo. Randy off-screen melee kills a few Zeds. We get some more studio green screen kills and they teach the young woman how to use a gun but she never fires it. The young guy glens himself in a car. Randy gets in a car and a dog is just chilling back there. A zombie tries to attack Randy from the back seat and the dog barks at the zombies and it flinches away. Yeah, the zombie is scared of this randomly spawned dog mate. In fact, the whole zombie horde just F's off because of one canine making some noise. No reasoning behind that, but at least we get a furry little child cuddly boy now. Oh, I love dogs. It doesn't make sense, doesn't. But the zombies push the car that has the young man in it over, and Dr. Hemingway, looking to save her little friend's life, throws a fragmentation grenade at the vehicle trying to get rid of the horde. And as soon as the car tips over, it explodes with him in it. What in the good God hell did you expect from an explosive device? That friendly fire was turned off in the server? What was the thought process here? That the cheap effects of the explosion on the car wouldn't affect him? She offers her apologies and condolences to the young man by going up to his very realistic charred remains and sticking her fingers on his eyes to close them. Just don't go licking your fingers after touching that Korean barbecue, you team-killing two-face. Reeling from their loss of a background character, they hear a noise in a nearby ambulance. Opening it up to find the pregnant woman? So she just links up with the group like this? Was any of her story prior to this necessary? She could have just randomly appeared like the dog and it wouldn't have changed anything about the story, especially given the fact that a random zombie is just chilling under the car, not making a sound around until the prego steps out. I guess the zombie got a whiff of some pregnant pheromones and it woke his lazy ass up. It grabs her by the leg and gums her leg. I guess that's supposed to be a bite, but they kill the zombie and then kill her before she turns. Oh my goddamn god. The only reason the opening scene existed was to set up this pregnant lady surviving in the middle of San Francisco, was to purely have another zombie baby scene in the zombie media zeitgeist. Stop trying to make this happen. Dawn of the Dead 2004 did it ages ago and we still laugh at it. And even Z Nation, which you guys produced, did that as well. Here, it's just retreading a dead joke. I would say you're beating a dead horse, but you're beating a dead baby at this point. The young woman asks why she is even bothering, saying, "What are we gonna do with the newborn baby?" And her response?
Stop! You stop!
Really showing us them thar intellect of a doctor, you sure are. She starts carving into the white pumpkin and digs in deep and pulls out a perfectly fine looking baby. But no baby looks this clear and this open-eyed right out of the womb. Now, I will say it does start to turn, and I was expecting it to be another zombie bit where it's like, oh my god, this is terrible. But my god, this turned in one of the best bits in zombie media. I don't know if it was intentional, but it turns and they proceed to stomp it flat. The shit was hilarious. Switched up real quick on that whole newborn baby angle. I guess you could name that baby after Flats. Back to the doctor, we see him introducing an electrical pulse to all the infected touching the metal bars. They all seize up and fall down. Scientific progress with goosebumps level electrical effects. He then tries to feed his daughter. She recoils at his sight, so he feels like a monster. I'm not feeding my kid. Dude, she's dead. She eats human meat. It's fine, bro. Trust me. The remaining 3 people reach French Stewart's lab looking for the vaccine research. Hemingway and Randy tend to a cut on the dog and talk about the maybes of the vaccine since they're there and they haven't found anything. Randy gets pissed after being there for hours without finding a vaccine. It turns into yet another argument of God versus science. Hard to take this seriously with Randy's blank-ass stare saying, "It's a sign from God." But this whole conversation is just to show us that apparently millions of people are infected and or dead. You really do not get that feeling with how clean and barren San Francisco is. But okay, they cry, hug it out, and then they go to sleep. The next morning, Hemingway wakes up to this.
I'm pregnant.
Oh, come on! We literally took the pregnant chick out of the story, and now you got another knocked up chick in a zombie apocalypse? I mean, you just couldn't resist, could you? She says it was a guy at a party right before the outbreak began. She says she does not want the baby, and she keeps hearing the sound of the baby that she squished earlier. I'm sorry, but all I heard at that point was laughter coming from myself. Holy shit, does that make me psychotic? Don't answer that. Hemingway convinces her to keep the baby. Huzzah! Meth Mike finds himself at an abandoned checkpoint and gets a loaded gun from a dead body and then gets up all in his feels looking at it. Yeah, that was a scene. He got a gun. Cool. Yeah, that happened. Randy's Candies get to the security room and find the keys on a security guard's corpse. You know it is a corpse because it's covered in black gunk and unmoving maggots. I know they bought the props for the maggots, but they could have at least used some CGI to show them moving a little bit. The dog is with them and guards the door. I forgot he was a part of the crew now. They get smoke grenades and weapons from the security office as Meth Mike has 3 zombies slowly approaching him. He slowly and safely climbs the chain link fence without issue. He almost gets grabbed, but hey, it's all good. He goes up to them and says, Did the writers forget like 10 minutes ago in the film they had zombies climbing an over 700-foot bridge with absolutely no quarrel or issue? So they draw the line at climbing chain link fences now? Good to know mindless flesh eaters have a preference of what they climb to reach a mill. Meth Mike picks up a propane tank and Hank Hills all their asses, or I should say their heads, knocking 3 of them out in single blows. Here we go with the disparity in dispatching them, or easily being killed by then. He's able to kill with the propane tank, but others can't do it with the damn gun. The dude gets ambushed twice and yet gets out scot-free. Okay, we go back to the wacky world of the doctor's experiments as he tests oxygen deprivation on the male zombie by burning something in front of his cell and fanning the smoke into it. The zombie is visibly disturbed until a fire bursts out, lighting it up. There's a huge fire going, knocking down the cabinet on top of the doctor. But where did this theory of oxygen deprivation come from? If you think they're dead and visibly saw electricity had some wild results that you could further expand on, why not stick to that instead of potentially having a flaming zombie mount you or setting yourself on fire or even making yourself pass out from smoke inhalation? He then sees his daughter reacting to the blood on his hand. So he comes to a new revelation. He has a new test to do. He goes and cuts some flesh off of his own arm, cauterizes the wound, and then feeds his own meat to her through the cell. He thinks it is calming her like a Return of the Living Dead zombie, easing the pain of being dead. But nope, the dumbass gets grabbed and bit. Why are doctors the dumbest people in this movie? She is about to bite his face when he shits out a frag grenade, and the resulting explosion is this big. How do the writers think frag grenades work? Like mini missiles? The dude killed himself after cutting himself open. What the hell was the point of using Alcatraz when this is the climax for its setting? That whole I'm blowing myself up as a sacrifice was not earned, and it was, for lack of a better term, could have just kept doing his research or at least told Dr. Hemingway about the electricity discovery. But nah, gotta keep my little girl fed and blown before I get myself killed. Coincidentally, the trio are looking at the island at that exact moment and react to it like they were watching with us, the viewers. They are just guffawed at it. And then Randy says he sees God in the doctor, and she agrees finally. Hallelujah, praise him! Then God sends a horde of zombies as a reward for their revelations. Praise them, they get chased away out into the open. Fuck if I know where they are, and get cornered in front of a bunker and shoot a bunch of zombies and make their way in. Randy gets a pretty cool mannequin headshot. They maneuver their way out of the bunker and run through another field weeks later style. You know it's a zombie horde because there are 16 people in makeup running at them. Methy Mike shows up Deus Ex Machina style, plows through 3 zombie dummies, and picks everyone up. In what way were these two groups in any way knowing of one's whereabouts and to link up to have this even happen? You know what? Do not think about it. Gotta have the story. It's getting close to the end. Here is the San Francisco City Hall with a little bit of smoke coming out of it. See? It's a zombie apocalypse 2 months in if you put smoke in a few places. Doesn't matter if everything needs to look ransacked or have a bunch of zombies everywhere. Damn, stop asking. Here, instead, have the best delivered line of dialogue ever produced instead.
Did you guys get the research?
Why does dude sound like Rickety Cricket? Their plan B of Petaluma and an evacuation is apparently in flames. But then he does a left turn in front of City Hall one more time, but this time the graphic artists and writers remembered to include a few CGI wrecked cars that were not there earlier. Do you like that? We finally have a little bit of the environment looking like it is post-apocalyptic. And on top of that, as the cherry on top, here is some more Academy Award-winning acting for you.
It's just me and you now. I don't care who the father is. This is your baby. It's a part of you. Uncle Mark taught me that blood does not make a family.
Blood is all there is now.
No.
The dialogue is just hammy quotes about Faye and survival. Then Dr. Hemingway hands her this. This movie is really about handing over crap as sentimental value. Remember that 4-leaf clover charm? Never comes up again. But a toy car? What random pile of junk did the directing team pull this out of? Feels like if they survive long enough, the kid would just get himself quiet placed by a zombie while he was playing with it. And boy, oh boy, the music and slow motion go into full swing when she winds up the car and it epically crashes to the floor. Symbology, depth, meanings, maximum level. But wait, there's more. Ash somehow gets the trolley moving with her in it, and it slowly moves towards a perfectly placed bus blocking the road. Moving at most 20 miles per hour, the trolley... Okay, before impact, I want you to try to predict what happens. I'll give you a few seconds. Hold on, it's gonna be great. Okay, you got your guess? Okay, here we go. This trolley, going at most mid-speed downhill, causes the bus to explode in half and shear right through it. Was that thing made of explosive paper? Maybe the chick survived the brutal wreck. Nope. For some Michael Bay level reasoning, the trolley explodes as well after the impact, like a few seconds after. The girl got handed a toy car as a token to keep living for the baby, and her response was to turn a slow-moving trolley into a slow-motion missile, even acting like she is moving at high speed to her death in slow motion, closing her eyes and smiling and trying to act like there was some kind of emotional buildup to this. But I just cannot get over the explosion. It doesn't even look like there was an impact. It was like the bus was too scared to touch the trolley. It blew itself up rather than touching a lesser public transportation vehicle. The reactions from the cast are there, and then they get over it and then go to a police station for weapons. The movie really has lost its focus on what it wants to do this late in. It's just random side quests now. They go inside and find a zombified policeman hanging by his neck. Now, how would this have worked? This is not The Walking Dead, where if you die, you always come back. You gotta be bit in this movie, and then you only have 30 seconds until you turn. Did the dude here get infected and then spring to his nearest chair, tie a noose, and then in that time span hang himself and die? I mean, it doesn't make any sense, but you can't really focus on how your zombies are either, huh, Asylum? Dr. Hemingway elects to put the guy out of his misery by wasting a shotgun shell on him. You would think a direct shot to the face with a shotgun would blow his head off, yet it just sprinkles his head with tar. Not only was that lame as hell for an effect, but you have survivors wasting ammunition and using the loudest guns possible. That's another thing that annoys me in this film. These people are making as much noise as humanly possible, and absolutely no zombies come running. The trolley explosion? No attention. All the screaming over the girl's death? Not a beep. Start blasting in a San Francisco police station? Nada. Yet you have zombies climbing the entirety of the Golden Gate Bridge en masse on just a hunch, or float to a prison island on randomized instinct. It's not making any sense. They scavenge and eventually find a weapons cache. Not knowing anything about the island doctor's discovery of electricity being a weakness of the dead, Meth Mike pulls out a taser and goes... Out of all the firearms they grabbed, you would think that the least exciting thing to snag would be a taser, but gotta showcase it, as I'm sure it will come in handy, not like they know anything about it. They start leaving the station and a random ass zombie ninjas Meth Mike, and then suddenly everyone else gets 1v1 zombied. It doesn't matter though, the taser works and it's brushed off. They apparently know that tasers are better than guns now. I don't know. Other zombies that attacked them, they're off-screened and never shown again. Time to start rushing to the endgame, whatever the fuck that is. Oh hey, there's a zombie in the hallway, you better watch out. Never mind, it just doesn't give a shit about the two dudes that are screaming right next to it. Wild how they can both be silent killers and brain-dead idiots. Did Zombieland 2 get inspiration from this movie for the ninjas and homers? They end up at a giant ass. What is this place? They hear some classical music playing in the farthest reaches of this ass and dig deeper in. They get ambushed again by some butt zombies. They tase one zombie and shove one to slow it. There really was no budget left for the gore in this movie. We get one zombie with its lips ripped off, and then suddenly a horde of zombies are attacking them from every single angle. This is the most zombies we've seen yet, and that is taking into consideration the Golden Gate Bridge attack. I guess they are attracted to going to ass-shaped places. When all hope is lost, Randy bursts the sprinkler system to get all the zombies wet, and then him and Meth Mike use both their tasers to shock them all. Guaranteed that would have killed them too because water's going everywhere, but it's whatever we can do to make killing the entire zombie horde with an electrical current in a worse way than how Return of the Living Dead 2 did 24 years prior. At least in the intentionally cornball movie that was Return of the Living Dead, it had the setup of electricity, the characters knowing about it, and then setting up a trap and luring the dead to kill them at a power plant to be away from the electrical danger. Here, the characters had no idea of electricity being their weakness and are able to find a ton of tasers and miraculously use water to kill them without themselves being shocked. It's just, I guess for a lack of better terms, shocking how stupid this is. The basement is actually where Dr. French Stewart from the Monkey video is actually actually conducting more of his research. Huh? I thought they already went to the place where it was supposed to be with the vaccine and there was nothing. They had lost hope. How the fuck did we suddenly get here? There was that whole science and religion debate over the vaccine not being there, but apparently the scientists just fast traveled to some giant ass, and he tells their dog to get up on the table. Where the fuck did the dog come from? When they got out of the car to go inside the ass, the dog was nowhere to be seen. When they're walking in the tunnels, no dog. Shootouts with the zombies, no dog. Electric boogaloo, no freaking canine. How did dog meat spawn here to meet French Stewart? Did the writers forget they had a dog in his crew and just keep randomly inserting it in places it would be to remind us? They ask how his vaccine research went, and apparently failed as the chimp, I don't know, I guess it died from zombies or the virus killed it, who knows? But French Stewart ran after the facility was overwhelmed by the dead. He then states to the group that the dog they teleported there was one of his test subjects. Excuse me, where is this plot point coming from? They say the dog had been bitten and scratched by the undead and displayed no symptoms. Since when was it a factor that anything but chimps and humans could carry the static shock virus? Apparently, the disease is mammalian in nature and it can infect dogs. But ignore how they could have repurposed their Zoombies concept of having a bunch of animals as undead and instead focus on how Dr. French says that the dog was his best test subject that got free. For the group to spontaneously find him on the bridge during a zombie attack, locked in a damn car by itself, is so stupid. Did the research give him opposable thumbs to open car doors and hide? Did it make his bark scare off zombies? That's never brought up again. And does it give him the ability to use Goku's instant transmission away from any violent skirmishes because that's just not part of the budget? Why is this suddenly about the dog being the one that could be the cure when the writers couldn't even remember it existed half of the time? Did they watch I Am Legend halfway through writing the script and say, hey, what if the dog not only lived, but was the cure and could teleport? The zombies are apparently about to break through the door. French says there is a medical helicopter on the roof, which it's not, it's actually on the ground level. Never mind. It's impossible to pilot a helicopter, French says. Randy suddenly says, hey, I was a pilot before all of this, which that just came out of nowhere. But French just assumes he is a truck driver because of his boorish looks. Randy then says they risked everything to get here. No, you didn't. You had no idea he was even here and just randomly were searching places. French then suddenly says that the music that he was playing keeps the zombies calm. That's just a random tidbit of the dead that's thrown in with no more expansion. Rise of the Zombies is really good about throwing as many zombie ideas as possible from a ton of other franchises at the wall, hoping it sticks to make an interesting story, but it's just a bunch of ideas that pop up for a second and then never are mentioned again. Randy gets grabbed through the glass window. Why do fat guys always stay next to windows in barricaded rooms? He gets bit on the hand and he screams for them to cut off his hand. The movie forgets its own rules yet again. From the moment he gets bit, 44 seconds passes before his arm is chopped off. I thought it only took a maximum of 30 seconds for a person to turn. The microorganisms would have already spread all the way from his hand to his brain at this point. But we need the zombie trope of cutting off a bitten limb because that's supposed to be in every zombie movie as well. Also, the fact that French Stewart, this scrawny-ass guy, just had this axe lying around and was able to cut off Ethan Suplee's thick arm in one swing is nothing short of impressive. They whip out a blowtorch to cauterize his stump. The dude would have passed out from shock at this point. I don't think it would work like that, man, but whatever. Doc Stewart injects the untested vaccine drug in Randy's stump as the zombies bust in. They could have gotten out the back door this whole time, by the way. They were acting like this was a dead-end room, but whatever. Randy, with his right arm tucked inside his shirt to emulate a cut-off arm, is escorted out, and Meth Mike pops a few deadies. They get to the helicopter smothered in smeared ragu and close the doors just in the nick of time time as zombies slam into it. Meth Mike screams out how he is in stress and starts having a seizure. This is apparently a character trait now. Oh, wait, no, it's not him just having a medical condition. He apparently got bit. When he got bit or scratched, I have no idea. They did not make it apparent at all, but they give him the vaccine just in the nick of time that has not been tested on humans as they begin to take off. The doctor also pricks the vaccine into Doc Hemingway without her consent. Great idea to inject everyone with this untested medical thing when you're about to take off in a fucking helicopter. You're trying to pull Crash Course in Swamp Fever here, man. They fly over Alcatraz and look at it with sad appearances like it means anything. They fly past a pretty clear looking San Francisco and now say that the vaccine is successful. It works, but a cure, maybe it can't happen. But anything is possible. Oh hey, look, the Golden Gate Bridge, that place where the zombies attacked in swarms and we had a car explode. Man, I bet it's a mess down there. Oh, come on, there's cars driving on it. Can anyone be bothered to care about what's shown in this movie? I'm done. Fuck this movie. Rest in peace, Danny Trejo. You deserved better.